Hello and welcome back to Highland Seedlings. I'm Mari and this is our smallholding. So you've not heard from me, here at least, since I think July. I didn't do a video at the beginning of August and I didn't do one at the beginning of September because it's been really busy and we had non-stop visitors, which was really lovely, but it means we didn't really get round to much optional stuff like this sort of thing. So you missed our most productive period in the garden, but as you'll see, there's still loads going on and we're still eating at least 2 meals a day from the garden at the moment. We've also managed to freeze lots, and we've made jam, and we've just started our cider making, all of which are very exciting things and mean that the seasons are definitely turning. We've done quite a lot to the garden, as you can imagine. One of the things we've done is to put up this hammock, which allows me to lie down and survey everything. And it's really lovely. I find that I need to support my head because it's very heavy. And if I sit upright for too long, I get very dizzy. So having a space to lie down has made a massive difference to the amount of time I can actually spend outside. And there's usually a pet that comes to visit as well. Penny in this case. Hi Penny. So that's been one of the changes. We've also built more paths. You can see this one here, and we've built more beds, and you'll hear all about that in the video. But we also have pet news. It's been a pretty petful summer. So at the beginning of August, we got ducks. We have 3 Khaki Campbell ducks that we went to pick up from Skye, and they were terribly scared and neurotic and just for the first 3 weeks that we had them. And now they've settled in and they're just kind of ducking around. You can see them behind me there. They just sort of walk around and forage and chat to each other and go into their kiddie pot, and there they are, quack, 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 and eating lots of slugs. That's what they're supposed to do. We love them a great deal now. Because they're Khaki Campbells, we've named them after the Campbell's condensed soup. So we have tomato, mushroom, and chicken, and we've only just learned to tell them apart. We also took on more rescue chickens. We lost 2 chickens this summer, so we thought it was time for more. So we got an additional 6 rescue chickens, which brings our total chicken number up to 11. And it feels really right. And there's always a chicken wherever you look. I'll see if I can find you one. Ducks. Chicken. Chicken. And it's soothing and wonderful. At the moment we're getting 6 eggs a day because only some of them are laying in the nest box or laying. We're not entirely sure, but we're getting enough eggs for ourselves and for the wee egg housey by the side of the road. And then more recently, we also got a new indoor pet, Cedric, the ginger kitten. He's adorable. He's 4 months now. Will be 5 months soon, and he's not allowed out yet, so he won't appear in the garden, but I'm sure he will in the future. So this brings our pet total to 22. 11 chickens, 3 ducks, 4 cats, 2 rabbits, and 2 dogs. And I think that makes us firmly smallholders. So over the last few weeks or so, I've kind of stopped thinking of it as the garden and started thinking of it as the smallholding. And it's made me feel really good, and it's given me a lot of agency, and it's great. So yeah, everything's worked brilliantly this year. We've grown so many vegetables with not that much effort. We spend on average 10 to 20 minutes a day in the garden, and we can feed ourselves off it. We can't do grains, we can't do everything, but there's a whole lot that we can do, and hopefully over the course of the winter we'll clear more overgrown stuff so that we can grow more next year. We'll be building more beds. All of this behind us here will be veg beds. So next year we can focus on growing better and hopefully doing more workshops, working with community groups, supplying seedlings to schools and that kind of thing. We ran workshops through Airbnb experiences. There's two kinds. One is an introduction to growing your own without digging, and the other is a meet the chicken experience where you get to come and cuddle a chicken and learn how to pick them up and feed them, and it's wonderful, and we're having lots of fun. So hopefully we'll be doing more of those. And we've also started doing seedling subscription boxes over on vegseedlings.co.uk, where you can pre-order 10, 20 or 50 veg seedlings to be sent to you once a month from April to August. In the top part of the garden by the gate, things are going well. You can see our herb bed in the foreground, the carrots and the tires behind it, and then our 3 long vegetable beds in that space behind. Some of the crops you see in those long beds are the first cropping, and some of them are a second cropping, and some are a third crop. The little triangular bed by the second grow house is also happy and full of plants now. From this angle you can see the herb bed on the left, the carrots in the middle, and the 3 big long beds to the right, and the fruit patch coming into view just now. For once we've managed to grow things successively. That is, when one crop finished we had another one ready to go in because we planned our seedlings better. This is why there's crops at different stages there at the moment. Look at the carrots, all at different stages just now. One thing that hasn't worked very well is the sweet corn. We've got a couple of plants that have grown tall, and there's one cob developing now, but they didn't do very well, and next year I have to put them in the polytunnel, I think. At the end of this bed is where the broad beans were, and as soon as we'd cleared them, we planted little cabbages in their stead. There's loads of leafy greens everywhere, things like chard, spinach, and different kinds of kale, and they've loved our summer weather. Our lettuce has done very decently too, and we've had a variety of lettuces growing all summer, and whenever one finished we had another one ready to go in its place. We've been harvesting the lettuce leaf by leaf rather than letting it go for a full head, and that's extended the life of the plant significantly and meant we've wasted less. I'm not too upset that the sweet corn hasn't done very much because I've really enjoyed watching it grow. I'm going to take you for a little wander along the beds now. These green leafy things at the beginning of this bed are tiny baby kohlrabis that we'll hopefully be able to harvest before winter. And there's other greens, including my beloved red Russian. This is the same plant that we've had since the beginning of the year, and it's done magnificently. It's just flowering now, and it tastes amazing. There's still the odd cauliflower going on as well, and there's some leeks and things like that. Everything's doing well, and everything's interplanted, so it's a little hard to tell what's what, but when you're up close you can see what's ripe, and I think this has helped to keep the pests at bay. I'm not sure if everything will ripen this year. Hopefully some of the cabbages will manage to overwinter. The rocket here is a second sowing. The first one is in a different bed, and that's done really well. There's a large chard, and then some more red Russian here, and some perpetual spinach on the left of those sweet corns as well. And in between is some self-seeded borage, which the bees love, and we do too. This is our second cropping of red Russian kale. You can see that some of the leaves have been eaten by butterflies, but not too much of it actually, and these weren't netted, so I think that's a success. It's delicious and we'll grow more of it for sure. Beetroot too has done well, for the first time grown in clumps of 3 to 5 plants, and we've been twisting them out and harvesting them for weeks now. We've particularly enjoyed this kind of lettuce, which was called salad bowl, and the seeds came free with a magazine a couple of years ago, and this oak leaf is really good as well. Very soft leaves and grows prolifically. These are our baby kohlrabi. You can see them just forming their little spaceship. We've enjoyed growing kohlrabi and they've kept in the fridge for ages. This is one of our remaining broccolis. It's a second sowing, not one of the original ones, but it's doing well and forming ahead, and hopefully we'll be able to harvest it before autumn kicks in properly. These are our carrots in the tyres here, each tyre planted at a different time, so we've had a continuous supply of carrots and there's more to come. The herb bed has bedded in well, from mint to perpetual onions to parsley to chamomile to various kinds of chives, marjoram and oregano. Growhouse 2 is full of tomatoes and they're finally ripening now. In the triangular bed outside Growhouse 2 is a patty pan squash. We thought it was a butternut, but it turned out to be a patty pan. It's done really well and we're just about to start harvesting the first fruit. The leeks are almost ready to harvest and they've done equally well planted on their own or in clumps grouped together. So next year we'll definitely group them together. Grow house number 1 is full of tomatoes. They're finally ripe and we've been enjoying plucking handfuls of fruit every day. We've also started interplanting some new seedlings in between the tomatoes to get a head start for our autumn plantings. You can see these here. There's just a few radishes and beetroot and kales at the moment, but hopefully we'll soon fill this space. It's been a really, really good tomato year for us. We've not had a good tomato year in some time, so we're very excited about this. No idea what any of the varieties are because we lost the labels, but there's big ones and small ones, and they're all ripening and they're all juicy, and we've lost very few of them to inquisitive chickens. Yeah, this is a good one. Yeah, really nice. Down behind the grow house is this bean bed. It's also got courgette in it and chard, and it had the garlic, if you remember. There's also a bit of beetroot, and it's done us very well. We've grown massive courgettes, we've grown loads of different kinds of beans, and they've been really nice, and we've really enjoyed having them. You can just about see our last remaining courgettes here, including this massive whopper here that we're yet to harvest. There's also some lovely beetroot in this bed, planted quite close together and just getting there. This little bed is new and we built it over the course of 2 garden workshops with our workshop participants. It's lovely and it's now got a mixture of like greens in it and beetroot, kales, that kind of thing, and also a few baby cabbages under that mesh just to keep it from the butterflies and help the little plants establish better. There they are. If I lift this up, it's the radishes, but it's also little cabbages like this one here, just tucked away. The rest of the garden is all about the apples. We have 7 big trees and they're all ripening now, so come and meet some of the apples with me. This tree is a beautiful tree and it had a bumper year last year. It's not doing quite as well this year, but there's still enough on it. The apples are just starting to turn and I can't wait for these to be ready. You can see they're just going red just now. This big tree by the wall is doing really, really well this year. It's got loads of fruit in a way that I think it hasn't had before. They're really low, so they're easy to plug, and they're bright red and really, really tasty. So this has swiftly become our eating tree. The apples are ripe now, which you can tell if they come off in your paw quite easily, as this one does. That means they're ripe. Maybe a little on the tart side, but I like them that way. And for the past 2 weeks or so, we've just wandered around the garden plucking apples and sharing them with the dogs and the other animals that live in the garden, and they're very, very nice indeed. The apple tree at the bottom of the garden is the ducks' favourite spot to hang out. They're forever sleeping by that tree. This one here, it's smaller than the other ones, but it's done very well in the past. It's a bit snoozy this year, but there's still plenty of good apples on it. I think the fruit must be heavier this year because all the branches are hanging really, really low and doubled over in a way which they haven't done before. So hopefully this means we'll get lots and lots of juice from the apples for our cider making. These ones will make excellent cider, I think. They're fine for eating too, but not as good as the big tree over by the wall. So that's the one we tend to eat. And this one tends to be a pressing one. This tree has always been in the middle of a hedge and we've never really been able to harvest it, but we freed it earlier this year and we're looking forward to seeing what this one will bring. Finally, let me take you to the big seedling grow house. It's settled in really, really well and we've decorated it with a bit of bunting. It's very happy now. There are some seedlings to the left of the door as you come in, and they're not doing as well as some of the other ones, but the ones you can see further down the bottom are very happy indeed. And that's our autumn seedlings for us here at the Smallholding. There's still a few tiny seedlings left to pot up into their bigger multi-trays, but I haven't had the time or energy to do it. They're quite happy here, and they will be for a few more days if I don't get round to it. Down here, these are our autumn and winter seedlings for ourselves, not for sale, and they're going out into the beds and also into the grow houses, depending on what they are. Just come with me and you can see what's what. There's things like spinach, different kinds of kales, cabbages, some early peas, beetroot, lettuce, all these sort of things. Some herbs as well. There's parsley and coriander, more kales, more cabbages, chard, which we need to grow a bit more of, some mizuna, and there's a bit of mustard tucked away as well. And hopefully this will get us through the season well. When these seedlings move, there'll finally be a bit of space to grow things in this grass in the ground as well, like we've done in the back. These are our very weedy and not very happy courgettes and some chilies. We had managed to grow one chili, but the dog ate it. But we've got a fair few cucumbers off these. They were grown quite late, but they're doing all right. I'm hoping to dig up these chilies and overwinter them as houseplants, and I'll keep you posted on how that goes. You're not supposed to be here, chicken. No, you're supposed to be outside. No. No wonder the seedlings at this end aren't doing as well. I'll have to put some wire over the door then. Right, off you pop. This has become our favourite spot over the last couple of months, our seating area where the hammock is, where the ducks are, where we can see loads of the garden, and it's been really nice having this space to be in. Ah yes, there's one last thing I wanted to show you down by this apple tree, and it's the pumpkins on the compost bay. They've done exceptionally well. We've never managed to grow pumpkins like this before, big ones. They're yet to turn orange, but hopefully that'll happen before long. You can see 3 big ones here. There's one more tucked away. There's one by the side of the road in the show garden. And I think another one somewhere in here too. Oh yeah, and then there's these ones over on the other side of the compost too. Just lying there, minding their own business, being really, really huge. And hopefully they'll manage to ripen in the sun, like these brambles are doing. There's brambles all over the garden, and we've been plucking them by the colanderful to use in baking. And soon we'll be making jam, and we'll be freezing some of them as well. We love brambles here at the Smallholding. So I hope you've enjoyed our update. It's bye-bye from me, bye-bye from Penny, and bye-bye from the Smallholding.